Okay, so here's my install of a in-car camera in a BMW F30. I've managed to install this without any hard wiring. Initially I was going to install it into the rear view mirror, but actually what I've found is that you can feed the cable underneath the roof lining, the interior roof lining. So it runs along the inside of the roof lining here. The excess cable is curled up inside the back of the rear view mirror housing. It's really easy to take off. You just pull it apart, and as you can see, this camera is not ideal, but if we go along the trim, you can't see anything there. We go down the outside of the trim, so the first point it passes over is here, so I tucked underneath that the window post, and then it runs behind the rubber seal here and all the way down the door. I'll open the passenger door and show you where it goes under the footwell. So if we open up the passenger door, okay, and how I fitted this, let's have another look from this side. You can see the cable just runs straight up underneath there. I've had to move it out to above the steering wheel because of the frosting effect behind the mirror. So in order to get a good shot on the camera, I've had to move it slightly over, but it doesn't affect the driving position. It's not in the eye line. So let's see how I started. On the passenger side, underneath the glove compartment, there's a 12-volt outlet, and I've simply run the cable underneath the plastic housing there and behind that plastic all the way around. You can see it just poking out there, and then I run it underneath the trim, and you can see it crossing across here, and then I simply pull this out. It's just a little bit of rubber trim. I had a credit card on me to lift it open at the time, and then it's just behind the trim up there. That runs up the post here, all the way behind here, and then, as I said before, it literally crosses over underneath here. So if I pull this, there you go. My fingers are in the way. You can see that the cable runs just underneath that post and up into there. It's brilliant. By starting, if you're going to do this, start underneath here first. Make sure you've got enough cable. Run it all the way around, all the way up to the rear view mirror, and then set up behind the camera here. And then, as I say, any excess cable, just pop it in here. Literally just pops apart. It's quite easy to pop apart. So what have I found? Well, this particular camera, you can see it's actually recording at the moment because the ignition is on. I think the ignition stays on for about 4 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. That will kill the power to the camera. And the camera is supposed to shut down nicely. Unfortunately, it doesn't always shut down nicely, but most of the time. It's quite effective, and when I put the ignition on, it actually fires up the camera and starts recording. Yeah, so that's the install. It's quite a neat install. I'm very pleased I haven't had to tap into the electrics of the car. Apologies for the camera, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight of how I managed to do it. Cheers.